Drink by the paint, paint, drove by the pine. Headed to the club in the boss top down.
Everybody, Alucard Gaming here, and today we are going to be talking about For Honor 4v4 Dominion tier list. Now, this is purely my opinion. I think I have a relatively good understanding where everybody should be. I know comp strats. I played comp games. I'm definitely I consider myself one of the higher tier echelon of players. So without further ado, if you guys think someone should be somewhere else, comment below. So the tiers we have are just the standard S, A, B, C, and I forgot to add the D. The D. I forgot to add the D. D. There you go. I fixed it. You're welcome. Why are you still meta? You know, obviously these people are considered the most, or the busted right now. You know, they're kind of like needed in every game. Or they're not needed in every game, but if you get them, you'll most likely win if you have some knowledge on how to play with these people. I'm not only putting high level play in this list, by the way. This is purely based on what I think is just better overall with everything. Gank potential, survivability, the easiness it is to get into stuff, how hard it is to kill them, etc. Just literally everything. This is both high level play and medium level play tier list for everybody. So let's go right into this. We're gonna start off S tier. Why you meta? These people are gonna be the best of the best, pretty much the best picks of the whole game for Dominion. Great picks, but they're not overpowered. It clearly speaks for itself. They do really good, and they could be S tier if you know how to really use them, but they're not going to be as better as the people above, obviously. B is for the people who are going to just be, they're kind of okay, but they're going to be slacking a lot in the department. Like, you're going to have to play a really strict role with these characters to be good. These are the characters that just struggle too much. It's practically like, for the most part, you're not going to really be doing much for the team unless the team is really unlucky and your team is really, really overpowering them. D is just practically, you are dead weight in the water. You would probably most likely not contribute anything to your team. So let's get right into this. I think, obviously, it's no brainer here that Raider, I think, is still one of the best characters in the game. Raider, he has everything. He has unblockables, he has hyper armor, he has fast lights, he has great 50-50s, he has gank potential with other teammates, big damage with gank potential. He's very annoying to play against if you have a hard time blocking lights. Higher level players can kind of handle it, but even they can sometimes get overwhelmed by it. Mid-level players just will outright get overwhelmed about it, and bam, thanks in the chat, you know? It's a lot. He's definitely a handful to deal with, and that's why he definitely belongs to be in the meta. He's been meta for like, I don't know how long, just because of his damage output and his unblockable pressure with unlock teching for everything is just insane. We have Pirate. Pirate is also still arguably considered meta still. Like, she's very hard to kill. Her Ash attack cancel into more attacks is very annoying. It's really good to do. She still has a good gank. It gives more revenge now, but it's still a good gank. Her feats are still good. Her pressure is still good. They did recently nerf her. She can't soft feint anymore for her unblockable, which was really, really good, but they can't do that anymore, but it's still good. You could still get ganks off with her. This is also a console tier list, by the way. I'm not sure on PC, but I'm pretty sure the same thing is, I'm pretty sure the meta is still this meta for PC. Let's go for other obvious S tier still to this day. JJ, great damage, great unblockables, unlock tech, great feats, great health bar, the best perks in the game, just overall good at everything he does. He's very annoying to deal with too, especially if a player knows how to use him well. Mid-level, he's kind of tricky to learn and how to play. Like, I picked him up, I played him, and I realized it's a little complicated to get used to his play style, but so medium level, he might not be as bad, but at high level and overall, he has a lot to give, and that's why he belongs there, definitely, for sure. Now we got the Shaolin. Shaolin is just great. Shaolin honestly replaced, here, let me just put that there to put that in perspective. Shaolin replaced Pirate pretty much in the meta stack. Shaolin has great moveset, great gank potential. His feats are okay. They're not a make it or break it kind of game feats, but his gank potential is what is really good, because it gives no revenge practically, and by the time they get close to revenge, they're dead within 2 extra hits, not even. Ever since he got that buff, he belongs up here. He's the newest addition to the metaverse. And we have, I still think Shinobi's S tier. Now let me tell you why. Yes, his gank was nerfed, but he could still get a gank off before they get revenge. Meaning, if you join in on a fight as a Shinobi and that person's already low health, like if he has 100 HP in total, right? If he lost maybe 10 or 20 HP and he was at 70 or 80 HP, depending on the character you're ganking with Shinobi and him, you could potentially kill that person still without them getting revenge. That alone is why they're broken. But the only thing that makes him up there is his gank potential and stuff. High level, busted. Insanely annoying to fight, especially on PC. Mid-level and other levels, those people won't really know how to gank, so Shinobi kind of sticks to himself. Like, he's a make it or break it kind of character. Like, you actually have to know what you're doing with Shinobi to actually have an effect on the game. Because if you're not doing what you're supposed to do as a Shinobi, you kind of can fall all the way down to, like, you can honestly fall down to here. Shinobi could be B tier or S tier for a Shinobi player that doesn't know what they're doing. But at high level play, they belong here for the most part, because Shinobi's kit is just really busted. And for the people that can't utilize it well and don't know what they're doing, they're going to have a hard time, because he's an assassin and they don't really know the timings for attacks and stuff. There's a lot to play with Shinobi. These characters, I believe, are the best of the best right now. All these characters kind of do their own thing and kind of just destroy everybody. Now we got these people are great picks. They are not busted. They are actually kind of arguably balanced, I personally think. Like, they're not that crazy good, but they're not bad at all either. They're like, they're leaning towards the busted side, but they're not bad to the point where it can break a game. Like, it would actually be a genuinely even game. Like, all the people that are here are potential to be meta. They could be filler for the meta. Like, they can, if the person knows what they're doing with them. So the first person I would like to put up there, Warlord. Warlord is definitely still scary in the at higher level. His feats are kind of selfish towards him, but they're scary selfish. His perks, best perks in the game. He has a heavy health pool, which is always scary. His gank potential is good, decent. Damage is pretty good. He could be up here, but he's not. He doesn't have anything really to offer in terms of lock teching, like everybody. Like, he can't do what Raider and JJ do. He can't smack multiple people, and they can still external block his attacks if they don't try to parry it, if you're smart about it. And then we have the Zanhu. Zanhu is also one of these great picks, because they just recently buffed him to where he can soft fate his unblockables, which comes in handy a lot Honestly, it's really good. He has good unlock tech potential, good damage. That still does 32 damage, which I honestly don't understand why, but it still does. He's definitely one of the harder hitters of the game. Next, we have Orochi. Orochi is also very good. Good with ganks, pretty easy. Honestly, he, I believe, could easily replace Shinobi. Like, he can replace Shinobi, I think. The only difference with that is that you kind of have to be the aggressor Orochi rather than Shinobi. Next, we have... Next person would be probably, if I had to say... Kaioshin is pretty straightforward. He has good perks as well. He's a hybrid. He has good feats. His feats are what does his job well, because he's terrible in duels, honestly. Medium level play, he's pretty basic. A lot of people know how to use him. His ganks, they're okay. They're not that crazy or that hard. They're pretty straightforward and simple. Once you figure it out with a friend, pretty easily, but it's not good enough to be up here. It takes too much time to do the gank compared to everybody else who can just do it pretty quick. Overall, I think he belongs here. He's great, but he's not overpowered. He's pretty solid right now. I would like to say Shigoki. Shigoki's good too. Shigoki's always been good. It's just he kind of I think he falls behind, especially if the team doesn't know what they're doing. All these characters, I think, have the potential to be meta. All these characters can be on the team for a comp level game. Good damage, heavy health bar, heavy perks. Like, there's not really much to say about him. He can do big damage off when someone ganks with him, which is... He's a hard hitter, you know. That is his title, you know. Yeah, I'll put him there. I think Aramusha could be up there. Definitely. Aramusha is definitely really good. He has good defense. He has heavy perks. That's what makes him very good too. His feats are okay. He can do a lot. It's hard to get started though, like for the most part. But he's a character that could definitely handle any kind of people on console. Remember, this is a console tier list, everybody. I like to just say that one more time. This is a console tier list. PlayStation and Xbox only, not PC. Aramusha can either fall into two categories here. He can fall in here, or he can fall in here. Because if you don't know how to soft feint or go into your all guard and know when to do it and how to bait people into doing it sometimes, he's going to be a little challenging to use. Like, I played him. I played every character here. I played him as well, and I can understand the frustration you could have with an Aramusha sometimes when you play as him and against him. Then we got Hito. Hito is also a great pick. Hito does good damage. He has probably one of the scariest 50-50s in the game. I think, honestly, in terms of 50-50s, like, obviously, this is just 50-50s. These characters, these four characters right here, have the scariest 50-50s in the game. Everybody's terrified of these 50-50s. But let me put that back. Alright. Hito has good damage, heavy health pool, heavy perks. Scariest 50-50 in the game, I personally think. And there's also a gank with, not that many people know this, where you can gank and infinitely gank with his kick. And it's just an endless chain, pretty much for the most part. We have B now. It's okay, but you're going to have a hard time. These characters are characters that are good. They're not great. They're okay. These are the middle ground characters. These characters are the ones that you could play them and they could have an effect, but it's not going to be easy for you at all, and you're going to have to extra sweat for these characters. I'm sorry, guys. I forgot one more pick for A. Silly me. I forgot BP belongs there too. That's not even a... Do I really have to talk about why he needs to be up there? Like, he has great feats, perks, great kit, pretty simple, straightforward to use. He can shut people down pretty easily. That's just a simpler version. He just belongs up there. I had to say it. Would be Shaman. Shaman's very good. She has definitely a good... she has good openers. Her bleed opener with her soft feint heavy into bleed is very good as always. Her bite pressure is scary still, but she doesn't really offer much in team fights. She kind of falls off there in that department at all levels because overall she doesn't have range. And that's, if you don't have range, you need to have damage. And she has damage, but her big damaging abilities are kind of, they take too long for it to happen. Her bite takes too long. Someone will hit you out before you get your bite off. Then we got Kensei. Kensei is, he got his buffs. He's actually he's pretty good, but I don't see any Kenseis doing anything with him. They just play Kensei like they played him this whole time, like how he was when he got his rework. He didn't really change. He's kind of just in a stale, like, he's medium. He's mediocre. He's pretty straightforward. He doesn't do much. He has range, but pressure in team fights as much. At least I don't think so. All these characters above him in team fights could easily shut down a Kensei. Next, we have the Conqueror. The Conqueror is also very mediocre right now. He's he just stands there, you know? He doesn't really do much. He just stands there and waits for your team to do the real damage, and he just guarantees everything with a shield bash, and that's kind of it. At first, his unblockable pressure was considered really scary. Remember when he first came out? Yeah, that was scary. But his damage has been nerfed since then, and it's when you get rid of the idea that the unblockable doesn't hit like a heavy and it's just a guaranteed light, you don't think that big of a threat of it anymore, because the unblockable itself isn't that scary when it's not hitting as hard as the other unblockables in the game. Then I would like to say Glad. Glad's good. Glad's okay. He kind of does his own thing. He's pretty straightforward. His big gimmick is just the unblockable and the toe stab repeatedly. You know, he doesn't do anything for team fights. Like, he can't external attack people practically at all. So he kind of he stays in the back seat and he kind of just secures for his teammates. But if he can't do that, he's kind of just guarding against everybody else majority of the time for the team fights. His feats are okay. Assassin health pool is not to be desired. Then we have Zerk. Zerk's okay. Zerk's kind of he does a lot better. You know what? I think he actually belongs here. I think he does a lot better than everybody above his list because he has hyper armor, he has good damage. He can external pretty well with one person only, but I mean, if done right, it can work. But it's not good enough to hurt a team in a team fight because obviously his externaling is purely based on hitting one person instead of hitting multiple people like everybody else is kind of above him. Valkyrie. Valkyrie is also really good. Valkyrie can just easily, she can external people really well. She has wide heavies, so she smacks everybody. Her feats are pretty good. Her javelin throw comes back a lot faster than people think it does, especially if you have the perks that get your feats faster. It's pretty insane. 50 damage just is massive. She has a good 50-50. Decent damage. She doesn't have any unblockable pressure. I think, personally, Valkyrie and Warlord are the true definitions of... As you can see, we don't need unblockables to be pretty dang good. Then, we have... Warmonger. Warmonger's is just... She's been medium. Didn't really do anything with her. All they did was give her earlier hyper armor where the best way I can describe how good the hyper armor is now, you can zone and get your hyper armor off with a heavy right after your zone. You couldn't do that back then. They put bleed on her attacks, but her bleed does the exact amount of damage that her normal attack did, but just part of it is bleed. Like, say you have 15 damage, right? Her shove used to do 15 damage. It does 15 damage back then. They changed it to where it's bleed. Now it does, the light does 10 damage, and her bleed procs off 5 times, and it does 1 damage per tick. So it still does 15, it's just bleed. Her feats are arguably still one of the most busted feats in the game. It's kind of hard to get her corruption off sometimes, especially if you're fighting people who know how to external block, and it's like, it's not like you can't get out of it, you know? Now we have the are you even trying C. These people are going to be like, sorry, forgot one more person to put up in here. And that would be, oh, I take it back. 2 more people. 2 more people belong up here. Nobushi could be very scary, but most people I've seen medium level and like lower don't really know what they're doing with Nobushi. They don't know what to do. So it's pretty easy to beat majority of Nobushi players. The only Nobushi players that actually know how to play Nobushi are either the max 70 rep Nobushis, or at least the people that are rep 50 and above, because most people don't really know what to do with Nobushi, especially in 4s, and I always see them fall off. This is just my experience, so that's why I'm going to put her here. Now we have one more. Griffin also belongs here. Griffin is very good. He's straightforward, but he doesn't have any unblockables, so his unblockable pressure is non-existent. Team fight-wise, he has his big ol' end finisher heavy swing, but it takes too long to get it, and it's not that hard to avoid or external block it. His feats are okay, I guess. They're not that crazy, so he's pretty average. Now, we have the are you even trying people. These people are like the people that are like, I would personally get mad when I see people pick these people if they're not a high level with these people, because most of the time they are useless. They don't help and contribute in any way. So, if I had to say, people might get mad at me for this. Jormungandr is arguably the most useless character for me personally. Every time I've ran into a Jormungandr player and they weren't 70 or 50 and up, they were dead. They were done. I don't even know what they were doing. They have potential to be good. They could be medium, but most of the people that play them are kind of just useless. Not to be mean to you Jorm players. I'm sorry. It's just you guys don't seem to know what you're doing. You kind of just stand there and give revenge because they like to knock you out of stamina. And they're like, hold on, let me knock him out of stamina first. Not realizing he has stacks of revenge on him. Then he gets revenge and murders everybody. That's just how it is. Then we have Lawbringer. Lawbringer, definitely. Lawbringer is a conundrum. Lawbringer is a legit conundrum. Lawbringer could be mid. Lawbringer has insane pressure. He has a lot of pressure. Especially when he starts his stuff going, he gets it going. He has good chain pressure. That's how I like to say. But majority of the people don't really know how to utilize it really good. And they kind of just fall off. And the next thing you know, they're just standing there getting beat up because Lawbringer doesn't have that best of an opener. And that's kind of the main problem with Lawbringer right now. Everything else is fine. But if he were to get an opener, like if, I'm going to say it right now. If Lawbringer had the opener that Griffin had in the beginning of the release of Griffin, where it was just a neutral bash, it doesn't even have to be crazy fast. But if he had a neutral bash, he could potentially be up here. He could, if he had that, because his chain pressure is just so scary. C is going to be pretty quick because there's only like 2 more people that belong there. No, maybe 3. Yeah, 3 people that belong there. Then we have Tiandi. Tiandi's pretty straightforward though. You can't really do much. All you really have to do is block the direction he dashes, and once you get that mindset with the Tiandi, the only Tiandi attack you'll most likely fall for is his forward dash light. But even then, it's kind of, he doesn't have anything to offer really. His goal is to just fly around you like a gnat, and he just bothers you with little bites here and there. He doesn't really contribute much in team fights. He kind of gives a lot of revenge. Because most people when they fight a Tiandi will external block in a Tiandi. So all that does is give revenge. And his Palm Strike gives revenge too. Yeah, they get a heavy off, but it's not. For majority of the time that I've realized, when Tiandi does his Palm Strike, it's mitigated damage for some reason. So his teammates do mitigated damage and give a lot of revenge. So it's not worth it. He's definitely a harder character to do. Then we got Wardeen. He's pretty simple, straightforward. His perks are, they're whatever. They're Vanguard perks. They're probably just they're not good. I don't know why, but I feel like his defense is surprisingly better than his offense, if that makes sense. If you guys know what I'm talking about, let me know down below. Then we got Centurion. Fucking Pugio. Do I need to say more? Pugio is just... That shit comes back like 15 seconds. That shit is annoying. It's terrible. I can't do it. Centurion is good. Unblockable. He has an okay unblockable. He has good, decent pressure. It's not that scary, honestly. Like, when I fight a Centurion, I know I can make a handful of mistakes, and I'll still probably win against the Centurion. Alright, now we got the D tier, which belong in the trash, which are these 4 characters. But these 4 characters, I will list from the best to the worst. Like, the best character to the worst character. So, we got Highlander. Highlander is still pretty good. His Celtic Curse dash is pretty annoying now to deal with. His unblockable is it's kind of annoying. You want to know what? I take that back. He doesn't belong here. He does not belong there. And I will tell you why in a second. Magi belongs there. He's definitely the best out of these 3. Because, for one, if you're not good with blocking with, what's that word? Reflex guard. If you're not good with reflex guard, you could just stay in your staff form and have a main guard. But then again, Highlander can do the same, but his damage is different. And Magi can smack everybody in the team if he wants to with his staff, compared to Highlander only doing one wide thing that would barely hit 2 people. It would hit 1 person for sure, but Magi can hit the whole team possibly. Magi also has one of the most painful force feats in the game. That one-shots, kinda. It's scary. That can hurt. He could be annoying in team fights if a person knows what they're doing, but most Magi is like an extinct character. I'm gonna tell you right now. I never see Magi's anymore. No one likes that character. He's definitely one of the weaker release DLC characters that came out, for sure. I think the only other character that was pretty weak when he came out was Zanhu. Zanhu was another weak character when he first came out. Like, no one really liked him because he kind of was just not good enough, especially for the meta that was going on. But yeah, he definitely belongs there. Then we have number 2. Who would be number 2? I would have to say number 2 would be Highlander. He kind of has the same ability. He could just stay in his defensive form and just block everything. But most of his damaging and bread and butter techniques are in an unblockable form. But the problem with the unblockable form is that most people don't know how to dodge properly with it. So they get smacked with it multiple times. And most people don't even stay in that form really anymore unless it's in a single fight. Not even then they don't really, because it doesn't really help them. Most people that only high level players that know how to play Highlander, like high rep Highlanders, will still play Highlander. Anybody else who plays Highlander does not have the patience to play a Highlander. Same thing with Magi. That's why Highlanders and Magi's fell off. They're practically extinct. I'm gonna be real. Then we have Peacekeeper. Peacekeeper is kind of bad, good. Like, she's good in a single fight, but she's bad in team fights. She can't gank. She has an okay unblockable, but it's not that crazy in the grand scheme of things because she's dead weight. These people are useless in teams, personally. If they're not god tier players with these characters, they're useless. Like, you have to be better than everybody to be good with these characters. That's why they're here. The worst character in the game, still to this day, ever since release, is Nuxia. Who would have thought? She is definitely hands down the worst 4v4 character in the game right now. She's been the worst 4v4 character in the game since Marching Fire. She has never gotten any tier higher than the day she becomes S tier is the day I will make her a 70. Mark my words, if she ever becomes meta, I will make her a 70 Nuxia. I got her rep 32 because I wanted to be unique when she first came out. I was like, oh, I'm going to be the single... I'm going to be one of those rare Nuxia players that are 70. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't do it, especially playing 4s. It was terrible. Yeah, she has no unblockable pressure. She is purely a single target person, and even then she has a hard time beating people up. Her feats are probably the worst feats in the game. Her cow traps are probably her best, but her best still kind of sucks because it hurts your teammates too. It doesn't just hurt the enemy. If it didn't hurt the teammates, then I would say it would be probably the best perk, but it hurts the enemy and your teammates too, so it's kind of not good in that regard. Like, it's just, no. She has corruption for her 4th feat that everybody uses because that's the only thing you could use. No one uses anything else. But Warmonger got that, and she has a lot more, and she has a better health pool. Nuxia is just hands down the worst character in the game. Like, she is useless. She is definition of useless. Like, I can't explain to you guys how bad she is in 4s. It's terrible. Hope you guys enjoyed this list. Be sure to let me know what you guys think about this list. Let me know if you guys feel like someone should be higher, lower, and we can talk about it in the comments for this video. If you guys want me to make a Breach and Elim tier list, I would be down for that. I'm not sure on ones or brawls. I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of like, I would say brawls would kind of be the same kind of list as 4v4s, because if you could have a team of another person, all you really have to do is gank, you know? So if you guys want to see those lists, let me know down below. Tell me what you guys think about it. And if you guys want singular lists, where I don't mind making different lists. I can make lists based on the best perks, not best perks, the best feats, the best 4th feats in the game, and we can list them, we can rank them. We could do class, best Vanguard, best Assassin tier list, Vanguard tier list, Hybrid, and so on. If you guys like that, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know, guys, what you think about this tier list, and I will see you guys